so this is the crunch demonstration. Okay, so we are going to be laying flat on our mat and our knees are going to be bent and feet planted to the floor. Okay, feet are going to be nice and close to your bum as well for this one. And I want you to put your hands on your thighs. And all we're going to do is using our abdominal muscles, so really embrace your core on this one. We're just going to lift ourselves up and roll our fingertips till they reach the top of your knees. We're not going any further than that. So we've only got, if you can see the sideway view, about a 35-degree angle off of the mat. Okay? So if you are wanting to progress this, make it a little bit harder, you can go into your full press sit-up, sorry. Now, what I don't want you to do when you're doing this, quite often there is kind of that tendency to put weight down onto your feet to keep your feet flat to the floor so that you're able to bring yourself up. Now, the problem with that is, what that tends to do is it just puts a lot of pressure on your hip flexor. So instead of driving up with your abdominal muscles, you're actually driving up with your hip flexor muscles, and that can be where chronic usage of that, you can get problems with that. So if you are struggling with keeping your feet flat to the floor while you're doing this, just go back to the crunches. Wait until you can kind of get that little bit more strength in your abs to be able to drive up with the abs rather than pushing through at these hip flexors. Okay, so what we're going to do with this one, we're going to have hands across our body, or you can have them to your head, but again, what I don't want is hands at the back of your head pushing up, because what that's going to do is you're going to put the pressure on to make it easier to come up, and you're just going to put a lot of pressure on your neck because you're going to be driving your head forward. So that's why I always like to have hands across shoulders, just so that to avoid that temptation. So we're going to start in the same position, and all we're going to do is come up and back down. Okay, make sure that your spine is in neutral when you're coming up, and we're not tempted to kind of come in with the head. Okay. Now, if you're struggling with the crunches, you're finding it that there's a little bit too much pressure, you can sometimes find pressure on your neck when you're doing that, or on your lower back. We can do what is kind of like a reverse V-up. Okay, so what we're going to do for this one, we're going to lay out flat, completely flat on the floor, and arms are going to go all the way extended behind us. Okay, just move that kettlebell out of the way. So we're just in one long straight line. We're then going to lift our legs up, bend at the knee, and we're going to slightly raise our shoulders off the mat, bend our elbows down to drive them down, bring the knees up to kind of meet in the middle, and then extend back down like so. Okay. So that is your crunches with your modifications and your progressions.